Back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, Monday morning, the E Jean Carrol second defamation trial continues. The Trump team, E Jean Carrol team, has a couple more witnesses that they were going to call. Two women that were going to testify that Trump, I believe that Trump sexually assaulted them. I believe that's what they were going to testify on. Plus the Access Hollywood tape that was released. There's some reporting coming out that the defense may not, I believe this is on Midas Touch, I saw this, that the defense may not present these witnesses or that tape. And you might ask yourself, well, why not? Why not just bury this guy? Well, Donald Trump is making a lot of noise that he is going to testify on Monday in his defense. And looking at an article from ABC, it looks like the Trump team is planning on calling Trump and another person who's going to refute E Jean Carroll's story. It was somebody who had worked with E Jean Carroll or was associated with E Jean Carroll. Now, the reason Midas Touch was saying that E Jean Carroll's lawyers might pull the Access Hollywood tape and these two others is twofold. One, it's kind of a carrot like, well, you know, if Donald Trump testifies, we'll bring these two women and this tape as a rebuttal. Because what is he going to say? I never raped any woman, and I've never said bad things about women and demeaned them, or said that they can grab by the you-know-what, the hoo-ha. And then you pull all this stuff to show that it's a pattern with him and he's a liar. So it might be, and if Trump doesn't testify, they can't bring him in later because they've already rested their case. They can only bring him as rebuttal witnesses at that point. So that's one strategy. Is that, okay, if he doesn't testify, we can't bring him in. The other one is, if he does testify, we will bring him in and we will rebut what he says. So the Midas Touch's final conclusion was the only reason why E Jean Carroll and her attorneys would do this is they feel like they've got a really strong case. They've proved what they needed to prove. Now, mind you, this isn't about guilt. This is about damages. They've proved what they needed to prove, and it's just it's a flex on Team Trump. Oh, and they're also going to introduce new evidence about all the defamation that Donald Trump committed this weekend in regard to E Jean Carroll. So they're probably going to ask for even more money, or it'll help with even larger settlements. So what I want to read on is, will Trump actually take the stand on Monday? My gut tells me yes. My gut tells me is that his mind is gone. He somehow thinks he's gonna, and their concern is that he's going to use it as a campaign rally. So they want the judge to be ready on that one. The other one, again, is they want to get this case to the jury as quickly as possible so that Trump doesn't undermine it. But we'll see. There's all sorts of things going on here. This is wild. Entertainment purposes only. What's going on with the Trump case? Will Trump testify? I shouldn't say Monday. Next week. Will he testify in his defense on the second E Jean Carroll defamation trial for entertainment purposes only? He is being told not to do it, and he doesn't. He's getting stuff he doesn't want to hear. Likely, if his attorneys had any amount of competency whatsoever, they're telling him, don't do this. And he's sitting there fuming because he knows what's best and he doesn't like what he's being told. He doesn't like what's being offered. Probably they're saying, hey, if they don't bring these two women in this Access Hollywood tape, if you don't testify, that's great for you. And he doesn't like it. And they're trying to talk to him about that. So right now, he may change his mind, but he's fuming. And mind you, this is the reason why he went after Joe Tacopina so hard, is because Tacopina told him not to do it. And then he lost that case and was found guilty of sexually assaulting E Jean Carroll. And in his mind, had he testified, he never would have been found guilty. And it's Takapina's fault. And here is history repeating itself with, the same lawyers telling him the same stupid advice. You wonder, how can you get all that information from that card? It's kind of understanding the situation, putting yourself in somebody's shoes, kind of knowing their motivations. I mean, kind of, because I really don't know his motivations. But that's how it's like, that's what this card tells me. And that's how he would react to it. What's the challenge to giving him advice that this is your best play, don't do it? It's the agreements, the contracts, the social contracts. Trump's strength has always been his one-on-one interactions, his ability to eat people's morals and ethics around the edges all these years. He can get people to do things they normally wouldn't do. He's a silver-tongued devil. For whatever reason, he can get people to do stuff. And again, I think this is also about if there was, and there's a jury, he wants to connect with the jury and tell the jury what he thinks happened. It's a witch hunt. It never happened. He never knew this person. He feels like he can connect with the jury and really sway their minds. He doesn't like the advice he's being given by counsel because he knows better. Notice, emotions and emotions. Underneath it all, his lawyers are telling him this so that he doesn't have to have an even bigger payout. But this energy, this is about money, or it could be health pushes, but in this case, it's a defamation trial. This is about financial damages. And low energy, this is fool's gold. This is making foolish choices. High energy is like, this is an opportunity. Trump sees this as an opportunity to limit damages. His lawyers see this as a really foolish thing to do. You're going to kill yourself doing this. Now, Alina Habba, I don't... she has not exactly shown herself to be a strong attorney in this case. Boris Epstein may be a wiser person on this one, but this decision, whether he testifies or not, is really going to impact the settlement. In the past is the Knight of Pentacles. Again, more money. He's had to pay in the past because he lost that first defamation case. And because he lost that first defamation case and he was shown to have sexually assaulted, what we would call rape, although New York law defines rape in a very narrow scope, his conviction has cost him in that trial, and it automatically made him guilty in this trial, which is why we're discussing damages. And this, by the way, grinds on him worse than anything else in the world because it's accountability and he has to pay for it. Current energy, the Four of Wands. Wands are about action and energy. They kind of look like jail cell bars. This is a civil case. This is not something that would go to prison, but this is opening day. This is his big moment. Donald Trump wants his moment. He's being told not to do it, but he knows he can connect to the jury because he always has been able to connect with people. And he's already out money. This is a big opportunity for him, and I think he's going to take it. He wants to take it. He absolutely wants to take it. To him, this is a huge opportunity that it's his calling. He needs to be there. The overarching energy, again, we're back to cups and emotions, is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is about, it's walking away, emotionally walking away from something. His lawyers are telling him, stop taking this so personal, just, walk away from this. Just get the settlement done and put this behind you. But here's the thing. Trump, through this whole, basically after losing from the CNN town hall the night he lost the defamation case where he defamed E Jean Carrol again, up until, today, he can't let this go. He is unable to let this go because he was found guilty and held accountable. He can't let this go. He's got to win. This is all about winning with Trump. It's all about ego. And his ego won't let him go. His lawyers are telling him to let it go. He can't do it. He's not wired that way. Sticking his tail between his legs and walking away is just not what he wants to do. He wants to teach this woman a lesson. The lesson to be learned, this is the overarching energy, all this. This is lack of ability to walk away. The overarching energy is the Page of Cups. This weird way of looking at things. I use this as my MAGA card. Trump, I think he feels like if he's got a couple of MAGA people on the jury, he can influence them. This is all about messaging to his base that he, never surrender, that as he's taking his mugshot after surrendering, it's his never surrender attitude. He thinks it plays well and it shows strength. Again, more cups, 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 cups. This is all about emotion and ego. It's going to cost him money and it's going to cost him big money. He doesn't think about things in the same way that other people. He's got this weird way of viewing. His optics are weird. Here's the outcome. The world. It's the end. Bringing things to a conclusion. I'm going to say he testifies because he's got to have the last word in this. He's got to, in some ways, him testifying helps convince the folks in the jury about how much money needs to be paid. He's going to testify, and it's going to seal it. Because if he testifies, he's just going to be ranting and raving. And even the most Trump-friendly jurors are going to see him, and they're just going to be blown away. He would be wise to shut it down. Don't testify. Don't testify. Don't testify. Take your hit. This is going to be like the difference between $25 million and $100 million. It's that kind of, or even 50 to 100 million. I think him testifying doubles the amount, at least. He might quadruple it. Because you can't lie to yourself. You can't kid yourself saying, oh, I think he learned his lesson like Susan Collins did. You absolutely won't be able to convince yourself of this. Now, when I read on this before, I tended to see like there was like the juror foreman or there's one juror that kind of acts as an ambassador for all the other jurists. I keep saying jurists. The other jurors to come together with defamation amounts. Let's see. Okay, so assuming Trump. Oh, here's a great one. I'll do a challenge for Carter. Trump not testifying, Trump testifying. Okay, so the first one will be, what happens if he doesn't testify? What happens if he does testify? And we'll have a challenge on that one and see. Kind of like it's like two spreads in one. What if? The what if. Here's what happens. Trump's testimony and its impact. Page of Swords. Pages are about messaging. Swords are about intellect and taking action and kind of like expertise. So this is going to be about almost like like emotional maturity or his choices. Page of Swords is like the impulse, the impulsiveness. He was younger when he did this, and I can do what I want because, I'm young and brash. So it's kind of like his brashness, and what has he learned and matured over time? That's kind of what this signifier is showing. Now, if he doesn't testify, what they don't see is the immaturity of this young man into an adult. They don't see him melt down. They don't see the emotional thing, the whole witch hunt. This is a biased judge and a biased jury while the jury is sitting there. I've never met this woman. If he doesn't they won't hear any of that. It'll just be Donald Trump scowling a lot and talking loud in court. So they don't see how emotionally immature he is. Therefore, because they don't see it, or maybe they think he's emotionally mature, it impacts their judgment. They're like, oh, well, he's emotionally mature, or I can't really prove that he's emotionally immature on this one. Wow, it impacts the settlement a lot. That because they're gonna, if he doesn't testify, it makes their decisions easier on how much money to reward, and it happens very quickly. Okay, what's underneath it is the burden. Okay, so I'm cackling because here we have that immaturity, and that maturity is what's going to be the hard part of their decision. They're weighing on this one, and if he doesn't, back when I first started working in the pharmaceutical industry, we had a VAX system, an old computer system. And when you logged off, it gave you a fortune cookie. And it says, it was something about a wise man always smokes a pipe, because it gave him something to put in his mouth so he wouldn't just open his mouth and say something stupid. You come across as mature and contemplative, and maybe you could take a long puff on that pipe before you say anything. And if you choose not to say anything, well, you've got the pipe in your mouth to keep your mouth shut. He can't keep his mouth shut. If he doesn't testify, he keeps his mouth shut. And it makes the decision a little bit less burdensome, because it allows things to happen quickly. Now, what happens if he does testify? Okay. If he does testify, we've got the Queen of Pentacles. It's a practicality. It's about, evaluating your health and your wealth. You've got women here. If he testifies, he's going to basically, again, what's he going to say? It's a witch hunt. I never met this woman, But he's already been found guilty. And now they're going to look at E Jean Carrol, and they're going to see how her health has suffered from all this, and how, if he testifies, how emotionally immature this man is, and how it's impacting her health. And all of a sudden, they look at this woman as like their own grandmother or great-grandmother or mother, and like, oh my God, this woman's been through so much. And now they're going to start looking at the money part of it. Like, oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Dude, they're going to look at her and say, oh my God, she has been through so much. If we don't make this amount large enough, she's going to have to suffer more. And she may suffer more regardless, but they'll at least be thinking about what she's been through and what's coming up. They're behind her. If he testifies, they're behind her. This unites the jury against Trump, because they're going to realize he's just this immature person who's going to continue to go about defaming her unless they do something to stop it. They know they can stop it. And the high priestess, feminine wisdom, knowledge. You got the pillars of wisdom on either side of her. They're going to look at this woman and say, she did nothing to deserve this. We can do something to help her with this. And maybe, just maybe, this will stop him. Again, underneath it is the burden card. He will save a lot of money if he doesn't testify. I can't see a scenario where he doesn't testify. If he doesn't testify, folks, it could be as little as 10 million. It could be 25 million or so. If he testifies, it's going to be 50 to 100 probably. Probably. Because they're just going to see how ugly he is. And how he's just not going to stop. And her attorney is going to show, look, he's been doing it through the whole trial. While they were seating you, he tweeted about her 20 times. And it hasn't stopped since. Oh, God. Yeah, because also, again, if he tweets, then you have rebuttal witnesses. And you've got the Access Hollywood tape that got released. And that's just going to bury him, because it's just going to show that he's a liar and he hasn't learned his lesson. And that very powerful opening statement, it'll come in closing too, of what's it going to take to get this guy to stop defaming E Jean Carrol. It's going to take the jury a little bit to work on that one, but I think even the biggest Trump supporters are in that jury are just going to be shaking their head if he testifies. They're just going to be shaking their head. If he doesn't testify, then they can fool themselves. If he does testify, they're going to shake their head like, how do I defend this? I've never seen. I don't know why he's acting this way. The evidence is clear. See, and that's the thing. The MAGA folks and the Donald Trump supporters, they don't see the evidence because Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, the right-wing media curates it. They take that part out. They don't report on it. So for some of them, this is all new. This is an aspect of this guy's personality that they've never seen. And this is putting a human face to it. This is showing the emotions behind it. And it's going to impact them emotionally, probably most likely to protect E Jean Carrol from this abuse. And trust me, when her lawyers say, look, since this trial, he has posted 100 defaming things about her. Yeah. Let's give, you can see the poster. Let's make it $1 million each for her. We'll ignore everything before that. Everything he said about her, it's $1 million. How many were there? 100? That's 100 million. Done. Everybody agree? Good? We're good? Good. We're done. If he doesn't testify, she'll probably get the 10 million she's asking. Maybe a little bit more on that one. Might be like between 10 and 25. That's how it can come quickly, because it would be like, okay, we're not going to convince these guys. Let's just, I think some folks say we want 25. The other ones say 10. Okay, let's meet at 15 or 20 or something like that, and we'll call it a day. We'll call it a wrap. Probably be about like 15. Sometimes you're your own worst enemy. Somebody should buy Donald Trump a pipe just to stick it in his mouth. Anyways, thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your kind words and your shares and your likes and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks just discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.